Hello there, and welcome to Deep Space Sleep. I'm glad you're here tonight. Out there, beyond the clouds and the comfort of gravity, the solar system turns not in haste, but in rhythm. The sun breathes light across billions of miles, and each planet answers in its own quiet language. Mercury hums close to the fire. Venus glows behind its veil. Earth turns in blue silence. And far beyond, Neptune moves like a slow thought at the edge of time. You don't have to travel anywhere. Just listen. Every orbit, every tide, every sunrise is part of one long exhale. The same calm that keeps planets steady keeps your breath steady too. Tonight, we drift from the sun's gentle pulse to the frozen peace beyond its reach. No rush, no noise, only gravity, light, and the endless patience of space. Before we begin, let me know in the comments where you're listening from tonight and what time it is where you are. Your words help other sleepy souls find their way here, to this quiet corner of the universe. For now, let the ocean move without you. Let's begin. Deep inside the sun, sound waves ripple through layers of plasma like music inside a living instrument. These vibrations rise and fall in patterns that scientists can measure as oscillations, each one a note played by pressure and heat. Through this quiet symphony, we can read the sun's inner structure without ever touching it. The hum is steady, almost tender, carrying the memory of billions of years of fusion in space. Where there is no air to carry sound, this melody becomes motion instead of noise. It is energy, not echo, that travels outward, touching every planet with its silent rhythm. When you breathe slowly, that rhythm meets your own pulse, two vibrations syncing across distance. The sun has been singing since before Earth formed, and tonight, you are listening to it without even trying. Beyond its visible light, the sun sends a constant flow of charged particles streaming through space. This solar wind moves gently, almost invisibly, forming an ocean that reaches far beyond Pluto. When it brushes against planetary magnetic fields, it paints auroras in quiet greens and purples. The wind carries whispers of our star's heartbeat, shaping the tails of comets and bending the fields around worlds. Though it races at hundreds of kilometers per second, in the vacuum of space, it feels like calm breath. Here on Earth, that breath creates both storms and stillness, a reminder that even invisible forces have rhythm. As the solar wind flows on, it reminds us that energy never stops moving. It only changes form, gently, endlessly. At the sun's core, the pressure is so immense that atoms of hydrogen merge into helium, releasing pure light. This process, nuclear fusion, has continued steadily for more than 4 billion years. Each second, the sun transforms millions of tons of matter into energy, yet loses only a fraction of its mass. It is a balance so perfect that life itself depends on it. The outward push of heat and radiation meets the inward pull of gravity, creating harmony rather than collapse. Deep in that equilibrium lies a lesson that power does not always roar. Sometimes it hums quietly, holding the center steady. Every photon that leaves that fiery heart is a promise of warmth, traveling toward the planets like soft sunlight through sleep. The light that reaches your eyes tonight began its journey long before history. Inside the sun, photons bounce from particle to particle, wandering for tens of thousands of years before escaping the surface. What feels like an instant beam is actually a lifetime of collisions, diffusion, and release. Once free, that same light crosses space in just 8 minutes to reach Earth. The thought is humbling that something so familiar carries such ancient patience. It is not rushing, it has waited longer than any human memory. Every sunrise is the arrival of something that began in silence. Deep within a star, when you close your eyes now, and you're not turning away from the light, you're simply letting it rest with you. Across the sun's surface, darker patches appear and fade sunspots, shaped by magnetic fields twisting like threads of silk. They rise and vanish in cycles lasting 11 years, each marking the rhythm of the sun's magnetic heart. These patterns influence the glow of auroras and even the radio waves we send through the air. Yet viewed from afar, they are only faint freckles on an endless face of fire. The balance of brightness and shadow is what makes the star alive, breathing in magnetism and releasing light. Even in the sun's turbulence, there is order, a quiet geometry that repeats with grace. As the surface flickers and settles again, you might notice that your thoughts do the same, forming patterns, dissolving and returning to calm during a total solar eclipse. When the moon perfectly covers the sun's center, a faint silver halo blooms around the darkened edge. This is the corona, the sun's outer atmosphere, millions of degrees, hot yet delicate as mist. Normally hidden by the brilliance of daylight, it appears only in those few quiet minutes when the world stands still. Streamers of plasma arch outward in slow motion, tracing magnetic lines through space. The air cools, animals fall silent, and light becomes a gentle twilight dream. For ancient watchers, this vision was divine. For scientists, it remains a mystery why the corona burns hotter than the layers below. Its beauty is fleeting, but its calm lingers. When the light returns, you realize it never truly left, only softened long enough to remind you how silence feels. Even light, which seems weightless, bends to gravity's touch. As it passes near a massive object like the sun, space itself curves slightly, guiding the beam along an invisible path. Einstein's theory of relativity revealed this bending, confirmed when starlight shifted during an eclipse. It's not that light slows or weakens, it simply follows the geometry of space-time, like water flowing around a stone. That curve lets us see galaxies behind galaxies, magnified by cosmic lenses. In every glimmer of light lies the echo of that bend, a quiet bow to gravity's grace. The next time sunlight filters through your window, remember that it has already danced through the fabric of space, carrying with it the memory of how the universe gently folds. Invisible lines of magnetism extend from the sun like threads of silk, sweeping across the solar system. When these fields touch a planet's atmosphere, charged particles spiral down toward the poles, igniting auroras. On Earth, they glow green and violet. On Jupiter, they blaze in ultraviolet arcs. Even distant Neptune has its own soft shimmer, a reminder that the sun's touch reaches far. These magnetic fields connect everything: planets, moons, and dust in one flowing tapestry of motion. What seems random is actually rhythm, energy circling through silence. As the lights ripple above the frozen poles, they write the same message over and over, that beauty and order can emerge even in the unseen. Every atom in your body began in a star's furnace. Hydrogen fused into helium, carbon and iron under pressures no human could survive. When massive stars ended their lives, they exploded, scattering those elements through space. Over time, clouds of dust and gas gathered again, forming new stars, planets, oceans, and eventually us. The calcium in your bones, the iron in your blood, the oxygen you breathe, all born from stellar fire. You are not separate from the sun's story. You are its continuation. When sunlight touches your skin, it's more than warmth, it's recognition. The universe does not look at you from afar. It looks through you, remembering its own creation in your breath. The sun, like all stars, will not burn forever. Billions of years from now, its hydrogen will fade, and it will swell into a red giant, then shrink to a pale ember. But that ending is far beyond any lifetime we can imagine. For now, the sun shines with perfect steadiness, patient and kind. It gives more energy in 1 second than humanity has ever used. It rises each morning without effort, reminding us that stability can be a kind of love. The thought that it will someday dim doesn't bring fear, only perspective. Tonight, its light is still reaching you, gentle as ever, turning your room into part of its endless dawn. As light travels outward from the sun's fire, it meets the first world, a planet of silence and stone. Mercury's surface is a vast memory written in stone. Craters overlap like fingerprints of time, each one a scar from the early chaos of the solar system. There are no winds strong enough to erase them, no rain to smooth their edges. The planet is a frozen record of collisions, untouched for billions of years. Its grey plains shimmer faintly in sunlight, reflecting the quiet glow of the sun's closeness. Standing there, you would see a sky of pure black, even at noon, the stars unwavering behind the glare. In that stillness, Mercury feels both ancient and eternal, a relic of the system's youth preserved in silence. Every mark upon its skin is a sentence in the oldest story of light and dust. And though no life has ever walked there, the surface keeps remembering. A day on Mercury stretches longer than its year. It spins so slowly that sunrise to sunrise takes almost 2 Earth months. Because of its tidal lock with the sun, the same regions face the light for ages, while others linger in endless night. The horizon brightens and cools in rhythms too vast to measure in hours. Time here feels fluid, days crawl. Shadows never hurry. If you could stand on its sunlit plain, you'd watch the sky deepen from white to black as the sun seems to pause, waiting. There are no seasons, no weather, only the turning of stone beneath fire. In this slow rotation, Mercury teaches something the universe already knows, that motion and stillness can exist in the same breath. Temperatures on Mercury swing between extremes no life could bear. When the sun blazes overhead, the ground heats beyond 700 degrees Fahrenheit, hot enough to melt lead, yet just a few steps into shadow, the cold plunges below -200, with no air to hold warmth. Heat escapes instantly, leaving light and dark to divide the world. Crystals of rock crack and reform, slowly reshaped by nothing but contrast. It's a planet of opposites, frozen silence beside molten brightness. But even in that harsh divide, there's a strange peace, the balance of forces doing exactly what they must. On Mercury, heat and cold are not enemies. They are the rhythm that keeps time moving when nothing else does. Around Mercury, the sun's breath is felt without mercy. The solar wind, a constant stream of charged particles, scours the surface, stripping atoms away into space. What remains is a thin veil of gas, an exosphere, too fragile to be called an atmosphere. Sodium and oxygen shimmer faintly above the horizon like dust caught in light. Each impact, each particle, reshapes this invisible skin for only a moment before it drifts away again. It's a delicate echo of the sun's energy, a conversation between fire and stone carried on in silence. When the solar wind pauses, the world grows even quieter, wrapped in the stillness of space. That faint whisper, impossible to hear, is Mercury's only weather, the breath of a nearby star passing by. Gravity near Mercury is weak, but strangely heavy on time itself. Because the planet orbits so close to the Sun, the fabric of space bends more sharply there, and time moves ever so slightly slower. A single second near its surface stretches longer than the same moment on Earth, though we'd never feel it. That difference adds up proof that even minutes can bend under light's pull. To Mercury, every orbit is a slow loop through warped space, a gentle pause in the sun's gravity well. For those who study it, the effect is a quiet reminder: time is not fixed, only felt. In that invisible distortion lies one of nature's softest truths, that even time must bow, just a little, to the weight of light. Long ago, an object hundreds of kilometers wide struck Mercury with unimaginable force, carving the Caloris Basin, a crater so vast it could swallow continents. The impact rippled through the crust, sending shockwaves that froze into rings of mountains and valleys on the opposite side of the planet. Even now, the terrain bears the scars of that instant, its surface locked in a pattern of frozen waves. No sound reached space, only motion rock folding like fabric before turning still forever. The basin glows faintly at sunrise, its edges casting shadows 100 miles long. Each ridge, each fracture, is a record of violence turned to calm. What began as destruction became sculpture, a reminder that even in collision, the universe can create beauty. The silence that follows is part of the story too. Held in stone, Mercury is small, barely larger than Earth's moon. Yet it carries the weight of memory older than life itself. Within its craters and ridges are minerals formed in the first fires of the solar system, unchanged since the beginning. Its dense iron core, still holding traces of magnetism, whispers of the days when molten metal swirled freely under creation's heat. Even as the surface cooled, it preserved these records, like pages pressed between layers of rock. The planet doesn't evolve quickly, it endures, offering scientists a window into what the early sun once felt like. In Mercury's silence lies the story of birth, heat, and endurance. For something so small, it holds the echo of creation itself, proof that memory can exist not in words or thought, but in matter simply choosing to remain. Near Mercury's pole, in craters that never see sunlight, ice hides quietly in the dark. The planet's tilt is so slight that sunlight never touches these shadowed hollows. Temperatures there fall colder than any winter on Earth, cold enough for water molecules delivered by comets to freeze and stay for eons. Radar reflections have revealed these patches of brightness, gleaming beneath layers of dust. They are remnants of ancient impacts, the last gentle traces of water on a world otherwise scorched by proximity to the sun. To find ice here, in such impossible heat, feels like contradiction, but the universe loves contrast. In those frozen shadows, we glimpse resilience, how, even in the harshest light, something soft can endure, waiting quietly where warmth cannot reach. Every 88 Earth days, Mercury completes a full orbit around the Sun, the fastest journey of any planet. It races along its path at nearly 48 kilometers per second. Yet from a distance, it appears unhurried, gliding in perfect rhythm. There are no moons to pull at its motion, no atmosphere to slow it down, just gravity and speed in balance. Each circuit is a silent dance between fire and stone, repeated endlessly since the solar system began. To us, its quick year is invisible, folded into the cycles of our longer world. But in the Sun's perspective, Mercury is the heartbeat closest to the flame. Moving so swiftly, it almost blurs into light. The orbit is not noise, but tempo, the quiet pulse that keeps the rhythm of the system's inner life. When dawn comes to Earth, Mercury is often the first light seen near the horizon, a faint, shining missing before sunrise. It moves between visibility and disappearance, tracing a path that hints at the sun's awakening. Ancient observers called it both the morning and evening star, not knowing they were the same world caught in orbit's rhythm. To glimpse it is to see time's first whisper of day, a spark before the full blaze. Mercury carries the sun's greeting, not through sound or message, but through presence alone. It appears, fades, and returns again, perfectly punctual, endlessly patient. In that brief glow near the edge of night, we are reminded how beginnings always come quietly. When heat fades, rock cools, and shadow grows long, the next planet waits with red dust and wind. Above Venus stretches a sky so thick with sulfuric acid clouds that sunlight never reaches the ground directly. Instead, it scatters softly through the haze, turning the entire atmosphere into a golden glow. From orbit, the planet looks calm, wrapped in cream-colored swirls. Yet beneath that beauty lies air heavier than metal, pressing with 90 times Earth's surface pressure. Lightning flashes silently inside the clouds, illuminating layers of mist that drift for centuries. The atmosphere itself moves faster than the planet below, circling completely in just a few days. Through it all, the sun appears as a pale blur, never sharp, never setting. Venus is a mirror turned inward, reflecting brightness but hiding truth. What we see is only the outer veil, the light scattered through a storm that has lasted forever. Beneath the shroud of clouds, Venus hides a landscape hotter than any forge. Its surface temperature can melt lead, reaching over 800 degrees Fahrenheit, crushed under denser carbon dioxide. The air moves slowly, thick as water, pressing against volcanic plains and mountains. Radar has revealed rivers of solidified lava and fractured plateaus that glow faintly in infrared. There are no seasons, no winds strong enough to cool it, only a suffocating calm. The planet's brightness in our sky is deceptive. What looks like serenity is a storm of heat. Yet even here, there is strange order. Every rock, every slope has held steady for millions of years, untouched by rain or time. In that endurance, Venus shows how stillness can exist even inside fire. Unlike most planets, Venus spins backward. Its rotation is so slow that one day there lasts longer than its year. The sun rises in the west and sets in the east, tracing a path through sulfur skies. Scientists believe this reversal began long ago, perhaps from a colossal collision or tidal tug from Earth's gravity. The result is hypnotic clouds, drifting east while the planet turns west, motion folding over itself like layers of dream. On this world, direction loses meaning. Light and shadow swap roles in rhythms older than memory. Watching it from space feels like watching time flow the wrong way. Yet still perfectly smooth, Venus turns against the stars. Not in defiance, but in balance. A reminder that harmony doesn't always mean agreement. Though we cannot see its surface, Venus still breathes through volcanoes that pulse under the clouds. Instruments have detected bursts of sulfur dioxide and subtle temperature changes. Hints of eruptions still shaping the terrain. Vast regions of basalt plains stretch like cooled oceans of rock, evidence of ancient fire that may never have truly died. The planet's atmosphere, heavy with gas and heat, acts as a blanket, trapping every whisper of motion beneath. Some volcanoes may still glow softly, hidden beneath miles of haze. This slow exhalation, not violent, but enduring, is how Venus remembers its fiery youth. Each plume of gas dissolves into the air above. Unseen yet steady, even under Such pressure, the planet continues to release its breath, quietly rewriting its own surface one sigh at a time. Venus is both beautiful and harsh, the brightest planet in our sky, yet the least forgiving. Its light reaches us before dawn, glowing softly as if to promise peace, while beneath, its atmosphere churns like a cauldron. That contrast gives it power, beauty without comfort, radiance without rest. The haze that hides its violence also softens it, turning catastrophe into calm light. Through a telescope, we never see its face, only reflections, layers of brightness floating above endless silence. In that veil lies a lesson about perception. What dazzles us can also conceal, and what we cannot see may still shape us. Venus remains still within its storm, a mirror that reflects both the sun's warmth and our own quiet longing for clarity. Long before the clouds thickened and the heat became unbearable, Venus may have known oceans. Scientists believe that billions of years ago, liquid water covered parts of its surface, shallow seas reflecting a gentler sun. For a time, the planet might have been calm and cool, its sky blue and its air breathable. But the balance shifted, the sun brightened, and the atmosphere trapped heat faster than the oceans could escape. Water turned to vapor, vapor to fire. The seas boiled away, leaving behind only memory in the chemical traces we now measure from orbit. In that lost age, Venus could have been a sibling to Earth, not its opposite. The thought lingers like a dream, fading on waking, a reminder that warmth and life are delicate alignments, and that beauty can tip into silence when light becomes too strong. The brilliance of Venus comes from its clouds, vast layers of sulfuric acid that reflect nearly all sunlight that touches them. This mirror-like atmosphere makes the planet appear brighter than any star, a beacon in both morning and evening skies. Sailors once used it to navigate oceans. Poets called it a goddess, and astronomers charted its glow with reverence. Yet this same brilliance hides the world beneath, concealing its storms behind a perfect facade. Seen through telescopes, Venus glows with a steady, pale fire, unblinking. That light, though harsh and distant, feels familiar, like a reflection of the sun softened by sleep. It shines not because it welcomes us, but because it cannot stop shining, a celestial lantern whose beauty is built on concealment. When humanity first aimed radar toward Venus, echoes came back through the clouds, faint signals turned into maps. Mountains emerged from the data, like ghosts taking form, Maxwell Montes, taller than any peak on Earth, plains smooth as glass, ridges winding through the mist. These soft radar reflections were the first touch, the first glimpse beyond the blinding atmosphere. What had been pure mystery became landscape, revealed not by eyes, but by patience and mathematics. Each pulse of radio light returned carrying shape, depth, and wonder. In that process, science became a kind of listening, reaching through distance to feel texture through silence. Even hidden by clouds, Venus allowed itself to be heard, whispering its geography, one echo at a time. On Venus, daylight never feels like day. The thick atmosphere scatters sunlight until it becomes an endless, sulfur-tinted twilight. Shadows are faint, the horizon hazy, and the sky glows a dim orange. Even at midnight, there are no stars visible, only a diffuse brightness that never fades completely. It's a world where time seems paused, caught between sunrise and dusk forever. The air presses down like the weight of deep ocean, and sound would travel sluggishly, muffled by density. Yet within that half-light, there's an odd peace, a world resting in perpetual evening. It's as if Venus exists in the moment, just before sleep, when brightness fades but darkness hasn't yet arrived. A planet suspended in its own quiet dream of warmth. To look at Venus is to see both warning and wonder. It shows what happens when balance slips, when beauty becomes too intense to sustain. Its atmosphere, once nurturing, turned cruel. Its seas vanished into sky. Yet even in that transformation, it remains breathtaking, glowing gently at dusk, marking the transition between day and night. Every time it appears above the horizon, it carries both memory and message. That light, unchecked, can consume its source, and that stillness can follow even the fiercest fire. From Earth, we see it as the evening star, calm and eternal. But Venus reminds us that every glow comes from change, and every wonder carries a whisper of caution. From clouds of fire, we move to air that breathes and the blue world that knows our name. Around the surface of Earth stretches a thin film of air, fragile, clear, and alive. Within this narrow band, every cloud, storm, breath, and song takes place. If you traveled just a few miles upward, the air would thin until weather ceased and silence began. Yet inside this delicate layer, heat and light dance in perfect exchange. Winds carry seeds. Rain shapes mountains, and oxygen flows through everything that breathes. From space, it looks like a faint blue halo, glowing softly against the black. That glow is our shelter, our connection, our reminder of balance. All of human history has unfolded beneath this thin veil. It is easy to forget how small it truly is, how dependent we are on a few miles of air. But when you watch clouds drift across the sky, you are seeing the boundary between chaos and calm. The oceans are Earth's deep pulse. Their tides and currents move heat across the globe, turning sunlight into motion. Each wave carries the memory of the moon's pull and the winds that glide across its surface. The seas shape weather, carve continents, and breathe vapor into the sky, returning as rain. From orbit, they form vast blue mirrors that hold the world's light. Beneath their surface, unseen rivers of current weave a rhythm older than land itself. The sound of waves against shore is not noise. It is the heartbeat of the planet, steady and endless, even in stillness. The ocean moves, keeping Earth's climate in fragile harmony. When you stand by the sea, you are listening to the same rhythm that began when the world was young, a rhythm that has never once stopped. The moon pulls gently at Earth, drawing oceans upward, shaping tides that flow in and out like breath. Every shoreline, every bay and inlet feels that rhythm twice a day, a reminder of our planet's bond with its companion. The water rises, not in haste but in quiet certainty, following a cosmic pattern written in gravity. This pull does more than move the sea. It stirs the crust, balances, rotation, and even steadies climate. The moon's reflection on the waves is both mirror and metronome. To stand beneath it is to feel time itself breathing slow, patient, eternal, the same force that shapes the tides once guided evolution, carving paths for life to begin along the edges of water. In every tide that falls and returns, Earth remembers the hand that shaped its first rhythm. Beneath continents and oceans, the planet never truly rests. Landmass drifts slowly, driven by currents of molten rock deep below. The motion is glacial continents move only inches each year, yet over ages it reshapes the face of the world. Mountains rise, seas open, and islands vanish, all part of a rhythm too vast for human sight. The map we know today is only a moment in an endless rearrangement. This drift is not destruction but renewal, recycling crust into new form. Beneath our feet, Earth breathes through tectonic motion, exhaling continents and inhaling oceans. The slow movement of plates is the planet's meditation, quiet, steady, unstoppable. What seems permanent is always shifting, and what seems motionless is alive with hidden flow. Encircling Earth is a field of invisible strength, the magnetic shield. It extends far into space, deflecting charged particles from the sun and guiding them harmlessly toward the poles. There, their energy lights the sky in auroras of green and violet, transforming danger into beauty. This shield is born deep within the planet's molten core, where spinning metal generates an unseen current of protection. Without it, the atmosphere would fade, stripped away by solar wind, yet it works in silence, surrounding us like a calm, unseen companion. Every compass needle on Earth listens to it, pointing home. The magnetic field doesn't just defend life, it connects it. Aligning Huai, stone, and sea in one invisible order. It is the quiet guardian we never feel, yet depend on with every breath. At the edges of Earth, near the magnetic poles, the sky speaks in color. Curtains of green, violet, and blue ripple in silence. Born from the meeting of solar wind and our planet's magnetic field, these auroras are whispers of the sun transformed into light energy turned into beauty. They move slowly, shimmering like breath over the frozen night. Long ago, travelers believed they were spirits or omens. Today, we know they are Earth's way of answering the sky. The sound they make is almost inaudible, a faint rustle recorded only in the stillest air, yet their presence feels like music, visible but wordless. Beneath them, the ice glows softly, and time seems to pause. In that glow, the planet reveals its connection to the stars, not as a separate world, but as part of a conversation written in light. In every green leaf, sunlight becomes life. Through photosynthesis, plants capture photons and transform them into chemical energy. creating oxygen for us to breathe. It happens quietly, constantly, with no fanfare, the most important alchemy on Earth. Each tree and blade of grass acts as a small solar engine, converting light into food, into air, into calm. The rhythm of this process powers entire ecosystems, from forests to oceans. Even now, as you breathe, part of that oxygen might have begun as a sunbeam touching a leaf. The cycle repeats endlessly: sunlight to sugar, breath to growth, energy to balance. It is a reminder that power can be gentle, that the same light which burns stars also sustains silence here. The planet's green pulse is the quietest miracle, happening billions of times a second. Unseen but essential. From orbit, Earth looks balanced, clouds swirling above deep blue oceans, reflecting sunlight back into space. This dance between reflection and absorption keeps the planet's temperature steady. Too many clouds, and warmth fades, too few, and heat builds. Every droplet, every wave, plays a role in maintaining equilibrium. Even the white polar caps act as mirrors, cooling the air while dark seas gather light. It's a fragile harmony held together by motion, evaporation, and wind. Scientists call it energy balance. Nature calls it rhythm. When clouds move across the sea, they are not random. They are Earth adjusting its breath. This constant conversation between sky and ocean sustains the climate we depend on. The next time sunlight glints on water, imagine the planet fine-tuning itself, keeping the warmth of life steady against the cold of space. Our orbit around the sun feels immense, but in the scale of the cosmos, it's a thread barely visible. 93 million miles sound vast until you remember the nearest star lies trillions of miles away. Earth's path is small, precise, and astonishingly stable, a circle of quiet motion within endless dark. The sun fills our sky completely, yet from just beyond Neptune, it would appear as a bright star among billions. We live inside a pocket of light, surrounded by distances so wide that even light takes years to cross them. And still, we call this home. There is comfort in smallness, in knowing our warmth exists because of perfect proportion. The vastness around us isn't emptiness, it's the space that allows Earth's orbit to hold meaning. A single, steady line in the quiet geometry of creation. If you listen closely, Earth seems to respond. The wind shifts when forests move. Oceans hum in frequencies too deep for ears to hear. Even mountains, under stress, emit low vibrations that echo through the crust. The planet listens and answers to storms, to life, to itself. Each heartbeat, each breath adds to this field of motion that surrounds the world. We are part of it, threads woven into the same vibration. The more still you become, the clearer it feels, the pulse of a living stone turning slowly in sunlight. Earth doesn't speak in words, it communicates in balance. Temperature, pressure, rhythm. It listens through everything that grows, everything that moves, and everything that rests. In that quiet awareness, the planet becomes more than ground beneath our feet. It becomes presence itself. The wind carries dust beyond blue, into the cold shadow where a red desert waits. Mars is a world of rust and silence, where the air is so thin that sound barely travels. Its atmosphere, made mostly of carbon dioxide, forms only a faint veil above the plains. The sky glows a dusty pink, Sunlight filtered through endless haze. Iron in the soil gives everything its red hue. Mountains, valleys, even the light itself. The temperature drops swiftly when the sun sets, and frost gathers in the shadows. Standing there, you would see two tiny moons drift across a dim horizon and feel almost nothing of the wind that moves the dust. Mars breathes faintly, just enough to whisper. It is a planet that looks warm but feels frozen, holding on to the memory of air it once had. Its silence is not emptiness, but patience, the kind that waits for time to circle back again. Across its surface, storms rise from nothing and become entire worlds of motion. Martian dust storms can cover the planet for months, turning day into twilight. Fine red particles lifted by weak winds can travel thousands of miles before settling again. From orbit, the planet disappears into a swirl of orange fog, as though it were exhaling. These storms don't roar, they drift, graceful but relentless, slowly reshaping the landscape. Rovers and landers must endure this quiet storm, their solar panels dimmed under the haze. When the dust finally settles, the air clears into stillness, so complete it feels sacred. The planet returns to calm, without memory of its own fury. Each storm is both destruction and renewal, a reminder that even in a world of silence, movement still finds a way to begin again. At Mars's poles lie caps of frozen carbon dioxide and water ice, glittering beneath pale sunlight. In winter, they expand outward, forming white sheets across the red surface. In summer, they shrink again, releasing thin vapors that drift into the atmosphere. This breathing of ice is Mars's slow heartbeat, the rhythm of cold and warmth cycling through centuries. Beneath these layers, buried deep, scientists suspect water may still lie hidden, preserved by cold and pressure. The contrast of red rock and white frost gives the planet a strange beauty, a desert wearing a crown of snow. Each season, the caps change shape slightly, shifting like clouds, frozen in time. Even in stillness, Mars remains alive with pattern, a quiet dance between sunlight and shadow that never stops, just slows until it feels like eternity. If you look closely at Mars's surface, you'll find the ghosts of rivers. Channels twist through valleys, carved by water that once flowed freely. Delta formations mark where ancient streams met vast lakes, now long evaporated. These shapes are memory-made, visible landscapes, remembering their own motion. Minerals found by rovers show that the planet once had chemistry suitable for life. Even if life never came, the traces are gentle, pebbles rounded by flow, cliffs smoothed by erosion, layers laid down like pages of a book. To study them is to read a diary written in stone, each line a whisper of rain that fell billions of years ago. Though the rivers are gone, their paths remain, proof that Mars once knew how to move softly. Like Earth does still, on the red plains of Mars, machines hum where no wind sings. Rovers like Curiosity and Perseverance crawl slowly over stone, their wheels etching faint tracks that may last for centuries. They work in temperatures far below freezing, powered by light that travels across 90 million miles. Each photograph, each data pulse, is a conversation between planets Earth, listening to its silent neighbor. These rovers endure dust, storms, and isolation, yet they persist, quietly exploring on behalf of a species that dreams. Their patience reflects the world they study, tireless, enduring, humble. In their solitude, there is purpose. Each signal they send is a heartbeat across space, proof that curiosity is stronger than distance. On Mars, they are the only moving things, the quiet witnesses to a sleeping desert still waiting to awaken. At dusk on Mars, the sky glows a soft, dusty pink. The sunlight that filters through its thin atmosphere scatters differently than on Earth, painting horizons in pale rose and violet. Because the air holds little moisture, the colors are pure, almost transparent. When the sun sinks, it appears smaller and sharper, a faint disk fading through haze. For a few moments, the light reverses blue in the center, red around the edges, the opposite of Earth's sunsets. Then, darkness falls quickly, and the cold returns. These sunsets are quiet, fragile things, lasting only minutes before the stars reclaim the sky. There are no waves to reflect the light, no clouds to catch it, only dust, glowing softly like the memory of warmth. On Mars, even the setting of the sun feels gentle, as though the planet has learned to let go without sorrow. Two small moons, Phobos and Deimos, drift above Mars like ancient stones that lost their way. They are irregular and scarred, captured asteroids caught in shallow orbits. Phobos circles the planet so quickly that it rises and sets twice each day, while Deimos moves slowly, always distant, like a faint companion. From the surface, they appear tiny against the vast sky, not glowing spheres, but rough, tumbling shadows. Their paths are unstable. One day, Phobos will fall, breaking apart into rings of dust. Yet for now, they keep their watch, tracing quiet loops around a silent world. They are reminders of chaos turned orderly, of fragments finding purpose in orbit. In their lonely motion lies a kind of peace to wanderers, bound not by will but by gravity, keeping the desert below company through its endless night. Every so often, instruments detect a flicker of methane in the Martian air, a trace gas that vanishes almost as soon as it appears. On Earth, methane often comes from living things, but on Mars, its source remains a mystery. Perhaps it seeps from underground rocks, or perhaps something still stirs deep below the surface. Each detection brings a moment of wonder, a brief possibility that the planet is not entirely still. The gas moves with the wind, disappears in sunlight, and returns again months later. It is as though Mars breathes in cycles too slow for us to see. Scientists listen carefully to these faint signals, knowing they might be nothing or everything. The mystery is not about proof, but patience. The planet seems to whisper, "Not yet," and the universe answers with silence. Waiting, rising nearly 14 miles high, Olympus Mons is the tallest volcano in the solar system. A mountain so vast, its base could cover an entire country. Its slopes are gentle, stretching for hundreds of miles, the remnants of eruptions that lasted millions of years. Because Mars lacks tectonic drift, the volcano grew in the same spot endlessly, layer upon layer. Today, it stands cold and still, its summit so high that the atmosphere there is almost non-existent. From orbit, it looks less like a mountain and more like a continent of stone. Shadows move across its rim like time itself passing slowly. No lava flows anymore, only dust and silence. Yet its presence is powerful proof that Mars once burned with energy and now rests. It is a monument to transformation, to the quiet strength that follows creation's storm. Mars has entered its long sleep. The fires that once forged its plains have cooled, and the planet now turns in peace. Its volcanoes are silent, rivers dry. Yet beneath the stillness lies memory. Rocks remember heat, valleys remember flow, and the air remembers the breath it once had. Mars is a world learning how to rest, not dead, just paused between ages. The red dust that covers it is the ash of its own history, glowing faintly under a distant sun. Every photograph, every transmission from its surface is like a heartbeat slowed but steady. In that calm, there is a beauty that no storm could create, the beauty of endurance. Mars has found its balance at last, teaching us that rest can be as powerful as motion. Beyond the red plains lies a border of rock and ice where giants begin to wake. For more than 3 centuries, a vast storm has raged across Jupiter, the Great Red Spot. It is so large that 3 Earths could fit inside its churning oval. Yet it moves with a strange grace, turning counterclockwise through bands of cloud. The storm's color changes with time, from deep crimson to pale coral, as sunlight and chemistry dance in its upper layers. Winds inside it reach speeds of hundreds of miles per hour. Yet the motion looks almost calm from afar. No one knows how long it will last. Perhaps it has already begun to fade. But for now, it endures a heartbeat of the planet itself, steady and immense. The Great Red Spot is more than weather. It's history in motion, a living relic of energy that refuses to rest. Even storms can be patient when they belong to giants. Jupiter's gravity is the silent conductor of the solar system's rhythm. Its mass is so great that it shapes the orbits of planets, guides comets, and shields the inner worlds from chaos. Asteroids caught in its pull gather in swarms ahead and behind, dancing in step with its motion. When it moves, the rest of the system listens. Even the tilt and timing of other planets trace back to its influence. Without Jupiter's stabilizing weight, Earth's orbit might wobble into disorder. It holds the system in balance, not through force, but through presence, an anchor made of gravity and calm. Every planet, every moon, moves to the beat of its pull. Like instruments in a quiet cosmic orchestra, through that unseen harmony, Jupiter becomes not just the largest planet, but the keeper of order among drifting worlds. Beneath Jupiter's colourful clouds lies a realm no human eye has seen, an ocean of metallic hydrogen swirling under unimaginable pressure. Here, hydrogen atoms are squeezed so tightly that they act like liquid metal, conducting electricity and generating the planet's immense magnetic field. Lightning flashes within this hidden sea, invisible yet powerful enough to shape the space around it. Scientists believe this layer may extend thousands of miles deep, blending slowly into a dense core of unknown composition. The movement of this metallic ocean powers the planet's magnetosphere to a bubble of energy so vast it could swallow the sun. It is strange to think that beneath such beauty lies something so alien, a world of lightless motion, electric and alive. Jupiter's clouds are the surface of a secret ocean, endlessly churning, endlessly creating its own silent weather of metal and storm. Jupiter's storms don't only roar with wind, they flash with light. Lightning here is far stronger than on Earth, bright enough to be seen from space as quicksilver white bursts through the planet's thick clouds. These flashes illuminate the swirling layers beneath, revealing glimpses of turbulent depths. The energy released in a single bolt could power a city, yet the planet absorbs it effortlessly. The atmosphere hums with quiet electricity, turning caves into spectacle. From a distance, these flashes look like thoughts, moving through a mind too vast to comprehend. Each one is a reminder that even in darkness, energy finds a way to express itself in light. On Jupiter, storms are not destruction, but conversation, thunder and brilliance woven into rhythm. The lightning speaks, and the clouds listen, echoing through the endless wind. Around Jupiter orbits a miniature solar system of its own, more than 90 moons, each with a world's worth of wonder. Io burns with volcanic fire, geysers erupting into space. Europa hides an ocean beneath its icy crust, where warmth and salt might cradle life. Ganymede, larger than Mercury, carries its own magnetic field, while Callisto bears the scars of ancient impacts frozen in grey. Together, they dance in precise resonance. Locked in gravity's song, their orbits tug at one another, creating tides, heat, and balance. From afar, it looks like a planetary ballet, a reminder that order can emerge from motion. Jupiter's moons are more than satellites. They are a family, bound by rhythm, by orbit, by history. Each one whispers a different note in the music of the largest planet, and together they keep the harmony alive. Io is a world of fire, bound in ice-cold space. Its surface never rests, reshaped constantly by volcanic eruptions more powerful than any on Earth. Underneath, immense tidal forces from Jupiter's gravity stretch and squeeze the moon like breathing, turning friction into heat. That constant pull fuels a molten heart, glowing beneath crusts of sulfur and rock. From orbit, plumes of lava rise hundreds of miles high, painting the horizon with faint red light. The landscape is yellow and black, stained by frozen ash. Io hums with quiet violence, a moon in perpetual motion, torn and remade by the same gravity that keeps it alive. It burns not out of chaos, but out of rhythm. Even from afar, its faint glow feels alive, the pulse of a heart that has never stopped beating since the solar system began. Europa drifts through Jupiter's shadow like a frozen pearl, its surface smooth and pale. Beneath its crust of fractured ice lies an ocean deeper than all of Earth's combined, kept liquid by the moon's internal warmth. Cracks line the surface like veins, marking where tides beneath push and shift. Scientists believe this hidden sea may cradle chemistry and perhaps life sustained by minerals from the rocky mantle below. Each orbit stirs the water with gentle friction, keeping it warm enough to move. From above, Europa reflects light softly, its shell glowing faintly blue. It is silence over depth, a frozen calm covering endless motion. To gaze upon it is to imagine what dreams the ocean might hold in the dark. It is one of the few places beyond Earth where stillness may hide something living, breathing softly under miles of ice. Ganymede is vast enough to be a planet in its own right, a world of frozen plains and ancient grooves carved by unseen forces. Beneath its icy surface, a metallic core spins slowly, generating a magnetic field, the only moon known to do so. This invisible whisper shields it from Jupiter's storms, creating faint auroras that shimmer near its poles. The magnetism suggests something moving deep inside, perhaps liquid metal, perhaps salt water both alive in motion. Ganymede's size and calm presence make it feel ancient, a bridge between moon and planet, between silence and strength. Its faint glow in reflected sunlight carries the wisdom of endurance. Among Jupiter's children, Ganymede is the quiet guardian, not fiery like Io or secretive like Europa, but balanced, steady, content to hum softly in the great electromagnetic song that fills Jupiter's realm. Around Jupiter, faint rings drift like halos of dust, almost invisible against the planet's brilliance, unlike Saturn's grand spirals. These rings are delicate, made of tiny particles ejected from moons and meteor impacts. Sunlight catches them briefly, turning them into thin arcs of silver before they fade again into shadow. They encircle the giant like the soft echo of motion, a whisper of all that has collided and continued. From nearby, they seem insubstantial, yet they are constant, replenished by time and gravity. These rings remind us that even the largest worlds have fragile details, beauty that only exists when light touches it. They are proof that even chaos leaves traces of grace, that destruction often becomes dust, and dust becomes art. Around Jupiter, even debris finds its place in the harmony of endless rotation. Jupiter is the master of balance, a planet of storms that somehow creates order. Its winds, lightning, and gravity seem chaotic. Yet, together, they sustain rhythm across the solar system. Every motion serves a purpose: to pull, to protect, to stabilize. In its presence, comets find paths, moons find orbits, and space finds calm. Jupiter teaches that even great power can hold stillness at its core. Deep within, metallic hydrogen swirls like a liquid heart, steady and unbroken. The planet's beauty lies not in serenity but in control, chaos held perfectly in balance. From Earth, it shines brighter than most stars, a steady beacon in the night sky. To watch it is to understand that peace does not always mean silence. Sometimes it means everything moving exactly as it should. As storms fade into calm, ice returns, and Saturn spins with its luminous rings. Saturn's rings are an ocean of fragments, billions of particles ranging from dust to mountain-sized ice, all orbiting in perfect symmetry. Each piece reflects sunlight like a mirror, turning the planet into a living halo. From afar, the rings look solid, yet up close, they are pure emptiness, thin, flat, and endlessly shifting. They stretch for hundreds of thousands of miles, but their thickness is barely that of a small town. Within them, gravity and motion keep perfect rhythm. When one fragment moves, the others respond like ripples in a calm pond. The rings sing in radio frequencies, their vibrations shaped by Saturn's magnetism. They are both structure and song, frozen motion made visible when sunlight passes through them. They glitter softly, like snow suspended in time. Saturn's rings are not decoration, they are harmony made real. The universe's most delicate dance. If you could speak on Saturn, your voice would sound strange. The air there is thick with hydrogen and helium, and sound waves would travel faster, deeper, and lower. A whisper would feel heavy, and music would echo like it was underwater. The planet's atmosphere is layered in soft gases that absorb vibration, bending sound into haunting tones. Thunder here would roll for hours, smooth and resonant, moving through clouds of ammonia and methane. In that weight of air, everything would feel slower, dreamlike, as if time itself were listening. Saturn turns noise into melody simply by existing, its dense sky shaping every note into calm. If we could hear its storms directly, they might sound not violent but symphonic, the deep breathing of a planet whose silence is made of sound we cannot hear. At Saturn's North Pole spins a storm, unlike any in the universe, a perfect hexagon. 6 sides of wind locked in endless rotation. Each side stretches thousands of miles, forming an immense pattern that has lasted for decades. The shape is born from fluid dynamics and rotation, an elegant equation written in cloud. It doesn't drift or break, it remains stable, quietly defying chaos. At its center lies a deep eye, glowing faintly with reflected light. The hexagon reminds us that nature loves geometry, even in turbulence. It finds form from space. It looks almost deliberate, like an ancient symbol carved into the planet itself. Yet it is only air, obeying laws that never rest. The longer we observe it, the clearer the truth becomes. Even storms can be precise, and even the wildest wind can move with grace. Under sunlight, Saturn glows with a golden hue, a soft, burnished light that changes with depth and cloud. Ammonia crystals high in the atmosphere scatter sunlight into gentle shades of cream and amber. Each band wraps the planet like brushstrokes on a luminous sphere. From space, it looks like a painting in motion, the colors shifting as the day turns. The warmth is illusion. Beneath those serene tones lies cold far below freezing. Yet the planet radiates calm, glowing as if from within. Light on Saturn doesn't blaze, it diffuses, hums, and breathes. When shadows from its rings fall across its surface, they draw thin black lines through gold, as if time itself had written on the planet's skin. It is light transformed into silence, beauty softened by distance, and proof that even in the coldest places, radiance endure. Titan, Saturn's largest moon, has weather of its own lakes, rain, and rivers, but not of water. Here, methane falls from hazy skies, filling seas that gleam like dark glass under a dim sun. The air is dense enough for sound to travel clearly, yet so cold that each droplet moves like slow oil. From orbit, Titan glows orange, wrapped in thick clouds of organic haze. Beneath that veil, dunes of frozen sand stretch for miles, sculpted by patient wind. It is an alien Earth, familiar yet reversed water, frozen, solid, gas falling as rain, warmth replaced by silence. Still, its balance feels complete in those quiet storms. Titan mirrors what our own planet once was, a place waiting for spark and chemistry to meet. Even in the far cold, it reigns, reminding us that motion, like life, never stops seeking form. Far out in Saturn's orbit, Enceladus shines like a shard of glass against the dark. Its surface is pure ice, cracked with blue fractures that vent plumes of water into space. Beneath that frozen crust lies an ocean, warm enough to move. Stirred by tidal forces deep within, the jets erupt through fissures at the moon's south pole, spraying fine mist that forms part of Saturn's outer rings. Sunlight catches the vapor, turning it into silver arcs that drift away like breath. Within those plumes, spacecraft have detected salt, organic molecules, even hints of energy, all the ingredients for life. Enceladus whispers possibility with every eruption, proof that warmth can exist in the coldest places. It is a moon that doesn't just orbit, it exhales endlessly, like a quiet heartbeat echoing across frozen space. Saturn's gravity conducts a vast orchestra of moons, each moving in harmony around it. More than 80 worlds, large and small, dance in resonance, their paths intertwined by rhythm rather than chaos. When one moon drifts, another adjusts, keeping the balance. The planet's pull creates tides within them, stirring oceans, shaping surface, and heating their cores. This constant conversation between gravity and motion makes the Saturnian system feel alive, a cosmic symphony that never ends. From the rings to distant Titan, every orbit follows a tempo set by Saturn's mass. The harmony is invisible but real, as mathematical as music. Watching these moons move is like seeing gravity remember how to sing a song of circles, of patience, of unity. In that quiet choreography, Saturn becomes not just a planet, but a conductor of celestial grace. The spacecraft Cassini spent 13 years circling Saturn, capturing its storms, moons, and light with reverence. In its final moments, it plunged into the planet's atmosphere, sending back data until the signal faded into static. Scientists called it the grand finale, a dive through the rings into the golden clouds below. Cassini's end was deliberate, a way to prevent contamination of the moons it had revealed might hold life. As it fell, it recorded temperature, pressure, and the shimmer of particles, then burned into vapor, becoming part of the planet it studied. Its silence afterward was profound. Not loss, but completion. Cassini gave us not only images but understanding, turning Saturn from mystery into memory. Its journey ended in beauty, dissolving like starlight into the very air it came to know. Long before rings shimmered around Saturn, collisions shaped its destiny. Moons formed, broke apart, and reassembled, scattering fragments that spread into luminous bands, ice and dust. Remnants of ancient impacts became the rings we see today, the frozen echoes of cosmic events billions of years old. Each fragment carries a history of violence, turned gentle, moving now in slow orbits that seem eternal. The rings are not relics of destruction, but of transformation, chaos refined into grace. Every piece glitters with starlight, caught between gravity and freedom, tracing a perfect balance that could only emerge from turmoil. When we look at them, we are seeing the aftermath of collision made beautiful. Saturn wears its past openly, turning catastrophe into poetry. The rings are its memory and its forgiveness. Saturn is a world where gravity and beauty coexist without struggle. Its mass binds moons, rings, and storms into perfect order. Yet the result is peace, not restraint. From its glowing bands to the pale curve of its rings, everything moves as though time itself has slowed. The planet radiates more heat than it receives, a quiet energy that keeps its atmosphere alive. To watch it through a telescope is to feel the calm of something vast but balanced. It doesn't demand attention, it earns it through stillness. Saturn's presence in the night sky feels like a sigh between stars, a reminder that even power can be graceful. It turns endlessly but never rushes, teaching that harmony is not the absence of motion, but the art of holding everything together. The further we drift, the colder the light and distance becomes a kind of peace. Uranus moves through space, unlike any other planet, tipped completely on its side. Spinning like a rolling sphere, scientists believe a massive collision long ago knocked it over, leaving its poles where its equator should be. As it turns, each hemisphere spends decades in continuous daylight, then decades in darkness. The result is a planet that seems to dream as it moves, half asleep in light, half resting in shadow. Its tilted rotation gives rise to strange seasons that last for generations. From afar, Uranus glides silently, pale and distant, with faint bands barely visible through mist. The planet's sideways motion feels less like defiance than surrender, as if it accepted imbalance and found peace there. In its slow, rolling spin, Uranus teaches that even the universe's accidents can become elegance when time moves long enough. The color of Uranus comes from methane high in its atmosphere, which absorbs red light and scatters blue through a telescope. It glows like a dim sapphire suspended in black, soft and steady. The planet's light feels calm, not radiant, a whisper of hue rather than a blaze. Clouds drift through its upper layers, faint streaks of ice and ammonia circling at unimaginable speeds. The deeper layers remain unseen, hidden beneath haze and frozen gases. Its blueness feels endless, as if the sky itself had folded inward from Earth. That glow travels nearly 3 billion kilometers to reach our eyes, carrying with it the gentlest color in the solar system. It is the kind of blue found in silence, the hue of distance, of patience, of time stretching too far to measure, yet still shimmering softly against the dark. Surrounding Uranus are rings so faint they were discovered only recently, hidden in darkness. Unlike Saturn's shining bands, these rings are narrow and dim, made of charcoal black ice and dust. They circle the planet in quiet symmetry, almost invisible except when backlit by starlight. Each fragment drifts in a slow, disciplined orbit, held in place by unseen shepherd moons. Their darkness suits the planet, subtle, reserved, mysterious. The rings are not there to dazzle but to whisper, their presence known only to those who look closely. In their shadows, Uranus hides its secrets, its history of collisions and calm rebirth. They are proof that beauty can exist in silence, that not everything bright must shine. Around this sideways world, even the debris has learned to move gracefully in the dark. The winds of Uranus move faster than sound, racing across its frozen skies at over 1,200 kilometers per hour. Despite the planet's cold, its atmosphere is alive with motion. Layers of methane and hydrogen flowing like invisible rivers. From afar, the world looks still, but beneath that calm blue surface lies constant turbulence. Storms rise and fade without sound, their energy diffused through vast depths. These winds carve patterns we cannot see, reshaping clouds and balancing heat across poles and equator. On Uranus, motion replaces warmth. Speed becomes its form of life. The planet hums in velocity, too smooth to hear, too large to stop. Every gust is a reminder that, even in the farthest cold, the universe never stands still. It simply moves more quietly, trading fire for fluid grace. The moons of Uranus are named not for gods, but for dreams. Ariel, Titania, Oberon, Miranda, umbrial characters born of stories and poetry. Each one carries its own mystery, canyons deeper than Earth's Grand Canyon. cliffs that rise for miles, plains of frozen methane and water ice. They orbit their tilted world in harmony, illuminated by sunlight that arrives weak and distant. The names suit them, dreamers circling a planet that rolls through space, half asleep. These moons are fragments of imagination given form, reminders that mythology and science are not so different. Both seek meaning in motion, both turn darkness into narrative. As they drift, their faint reflections shimmer across Uranus's soft blue glow, as if the planet itself were wrapped in fragments of old stories, whispers of art and orbit, entwined forever. The last winds fade into a deeper silence, where Neptune circles the edge of twilight. Deep beneath the cold clouds of Uranus lies a faint warmth that refuses to die. The planet gives off almost no extra heat compared to what it receives from the sun, yet something still stirs inside a remnant of the energy from its birth. Some think the sideways tilt locked its core, trapping warmth within. Others believe the impact that toppled it scattered that heat unevenly. Whatever the cause, Uranus glows faintly from within, a gentle ember hidden in ice. That warmth is subtle, more whisper than flame, but it keeps the planet alive in motion. It powers winds, shapes clouds, and reminds the darkness that creation always leaves behind a trace of light. Even the coldest world carries a memory of fire, and Uranus, quiet and distant, keeps that memory close, hidden under blue layers of stillness. Unlike most planets, Uranus's magnetic field doesn't align neatly with its poles. Instead, it tilts wildly, offset far from the planet's center, twisting as it spins. This makes the field pulse and flicker, dancing like an unsteady flame in space. As the planet rolls, the field swings around it in uneven waves, sometimes sweeping its moons, sometimes folding back on itself. The result is a constantly shifting magnetosphere, unpredictable yet rhythmic. Auroras appear where they shouldn't, glowing faintly in strange patterns. It's as if Uranus conducts an invisible light show that never repeats, a magnetic dance of imbalance made beautiful. Scientists still puzzle over its cause. But perhaps that's the point. Not all order must be symmetrical. In Uranus's crooked magnetism lies a kind of artistry, proof that imperfection can still hold elegance in motion. The seasons of Uranus last longer than human generations. Because of its extreme tilt, each pole faces the sun for more than 40 years at a time, while the other lies in deep, frozen night. When sunlight finally shifts, the transition is slow, almost tender dawn taking decades to arrive. These drawn-out seasons create a rhythm too vast for human memory. On Uranus, a single summer could outlast an entire lifetime. While winter becomes an age, from space, this slow rotation of light and shadow looks like breathing stretched across centuries. It is the patience of the universe made visible proof that not all change must hurry. Time here is wide and gentle, a slow-motion heartbeat turning in blue. Uranus teaches that sometimes balance comes not from speed, but from surrender to stillness, seen from Earth. Uranus is never bright, only softly glowing, like a candle hidden behind glass. Its distance from the sun makes it dim even through powerful telescopes. To find it, astronomers must look carefully, tracing its movement night after night among the stars. What they see is a subtle turquoise shimmer, cold, serene, unhurried. That faint glow travels billions of miles through emptiness to reach us. carrying the color of silence itself. Unlike the blazing giants or the radiant rings of Saturn, Uranus shines with humility. It does not demand attention, it waits to be found. The planet's quiet light is a promise that even in vast darkness, something steady remains. When seen through a lens, it feels less like discovery and more like recognition, a soft hello from the edge of the familiar. Uranus is a whisper in blue, the most silent of the great worlds. It rolls through the darkness without spectacle, carrying its tilted heart and uneven magnetism like old scars made graceful by time. Its storms are muted, its light subdued, yet its presence calms the space around it. Nothing about it demands notice, yet everything about it endures. To look at Uranus is to glimpse the beauty of restraint motion without noise, existence without need. It drifts at the edge of sunlight, reflecting only what it must. And still, it is complete. The planet asks for no audience, yet it remains unforgettable to those who seek it. In a cosmos of brightness and chaos, Uranus offers the rarest lesson of all, that stillness can also shine. The last winds fade into a deeper silence where Neptune circles the edge of twilight. Neptune drifts at the edge of the solar system, the farthest true planet from the Sun and one of the coldest places known. Sunlight takes more than 4 hours to reach it, arriving dim and weak, like the glow of memory. The temperature hovers near absolute zero, and yet the planet is alive with motion clouds streaking across its surface faster than any wind on Earth. From a distance, it appears calm, a blue jewel resting in shadow. But beneath that, serenity is constant movement. Neptune's storms rise and fade without pattern, spinning silently in the thin outer light. It is a world of contradiction, frozen but dynamic, distant but restless. Out here, warmth is measured not in heat but in energy, the quiet persistence of motion in the face of endless cold. The deep blue of Neptune is born from methane high in its atmosphere, absorbing red light and reflecting only blue. But this is no ordinary blue. It is darker, deeper, richer than any ocean or sky. Through a telescope, it gleams like polished sapphire, its color shifting subtly as sunlight grazes through thin haze. Beneath the clouds, unknown layers of hydrogen and ice swirl together, scattering light into endless gradients. Scientists believe the hue hints at unknown chemistry still waiting to be understood. For those who gaze from afar, that color feels less like pigment and more like emotion, the shade of distance itself. Neptune glows not with warmth but with calm, carrying the light of the farthest frontier. In that blue lies both peace and mystery, the quiet signature of a world that lives in shadow. The winds on Neptune defy reason. Despite the planet's frigid air and weak sunlight, its storms reach speeds of over 1,000 miles per hour, faster than the speed of sound on Earth. These supersonic gales whip clouds of methane ice into ribbons, curling and unraveling across the upper atmosphere. Scientists still do not fully understand where the energy comes from. Perhaps it rises from deep within, from heat left over since formation, or from the planet's internal rotation. Whatever the source, the result is breathtaking motion without noise, force without fury. The winds circle the planet like thought itself, invisible yet unstoppable. On Neptune, energy becomes poetry, velocity shaped into silence. Even at the edge of the sun's reach, movement never ends. It only becomes quieta, more deliberate, more infinite. In the upper clouds of Neptune, A shadow drifts across the blue, the great dark spot. A massive storm that mirrors Jupiter's red spot but comes and goes in decades. It is a void of motion, a vortex larger than Earth, spinning quietly in the thin light. Unlike Jupiter's enduring tempest, Neptune's dark spots vanish and reappear elsewhere, as if the planet is breathing storms in and out. Around it, bright clouds of frozen methane swirl like foam on a slow sea. The contrast of darkness and light gives the planet its haunting beauty, its surface always half-lit, half-hidden. The great dark spot is not a scar but a heartbeat, evidence that even in the far cold, change never ceases. Each reappearance feels like a whisper from the deep, a reminder that nothing truly ends. It only transforms. Neptune's largest moon, Triton, moves against the flow, orbiting backward, while all others circle forward. This retrograde motion hints at a violent past, perhaps a captured world pulled into place by gravity's quiet insistence. Its surface is a frozen plain of nitrogen ice, carved with cracks and geysers that vent gas miles high into the sky. Though sunlight barely reaches it, the surface glows faintly under the blue of its parent planet. Triton is both prisoner and participant, bound to Neptune, yet expressing its own rhythm. Ach Geyser erupts in silence, scattering frost that falls back like snow. It is a world that defies convention, a moon that chose its own direction and still found harmony. Around Neptune's cold expanse, Triton moves like a thought traveling the wrong way and somehow making sense of it. Beyond Neptune's shadow, the solar system doesn't end. It softens into distance. Though Neptune lies nearly 3 billion miles from the Sun, it still emits more heat than it receives. Deep within its frozen layers, leftover warmth from its formation continues to radiate outward. This internal fire is faint, but steady, the quiet echo of creation that never quite faded. It powers storms, fuels the planet's winds, and keeps its atmosphere alive with subtle motion. The warmth escapes invisibly, a soft glow in infrared light that only instruments can see. It's proof that even at the edge of darkness, energy persists. The planet doesn't shine because of sunlight, but because it remembers. Beneath that blue calm, something ancient still breathes, defying the cold that surrounds it. In Neptune's hidden heat, there is hope, the reminder that endurance itself can generate light, and that even far from the sun, life's warmth can linger in silence. When Voyager 2 passed Neptune in 1989, it gave us a final gift, a portrait of the planet's swirling blue and its pale, drifting clouds. That brief encounter, the farthest any spacecraft had ever traveled, revealed Neptune's rings, its storms, and the delicate patterns of its atmosphere. After that moment, Voyager continued outward, its cameras turned off, its signal growing fainter each year. Yet it still speaks, carrying data across billions of miles, the longest echo in human history. Its journey is both farewell and promise, a symbol of how curiosity never stops at the edge. Even now, Voyager drifts through the interstellar dark, still whispering home. The images it left behind are not just of a distant planet, but of a connection between us and the silence we dared to cross. Somewhere beyond Neptune lies a boundary where sunlight fades into memory. The photons that reach this far are too weak to warm, too faint to see without aid. They stretch thinly across the dark, turning golden light into grey shadow. At this distance, the sun is only another bright star, familiar but far. a spark among countless others. The solar system's edge is not a wall, but a thinning where gravity loosens and radiation drifts into space. Here, warmth becomes story, carried by dust and wind. It is a border not between places, but between knowing and wonder. Standing there, if one could stand at all, would feel like existing in a dream's final breath. The universe doesn't end, it simply grows quieter, until even light seems to listen. Between Neptune's orbit and the great unknown lies a silence that no instrument can measure. Space here is not empty but patient, a vast ocean of dust, frozen rock, and invisible motion. Planets no longer pull strongly. The sun's voice grows dim. Yet in this quiet, something profound begins. The transition from system to galaxy, from orbit to drift. Voyager travels through this region now, its signal crossing the threshold where gravity's hold becomes memory. The silence is not absence, it is depth, full of waiting. Each speck of dust, each forgotten particle, follows the sun's faint breath. This is where the solar system exhales, letting its energy fade softly into the surrounding dark. Beyond this place, order dissolves, and possibility begins. It is the soundless pause before infinity continues its slow unfolding. Neptune feels like a final note in the solar system's song, the last blue breath before the dark. Its storms, its light, its quiet heat all seem like echoes of everything that came before. The fire of the sun, the calm of Saturn, the rest of Mars. Beyond it lies no certain path, only the gradual dimming of what was once bright. And yet, that dimming is not sorrow, it's release. Neptune doesn't fight the dark, it welcomes it, glowing softly in the twilight of our star's reach. To see it is to understand endings that are also beginnings. Its calm is not cold, but complete, the serenity of something that has reached its edge and found peace there. The solar system's final frontier is not silence, but the sigh of light letting go. Beyond Neptune's shadow, the solar system doesn't end. It softens into distance. Beyond Neptune stretches the Kuiper Belt, a vast ring of icy bodies orbiting in slow harmony around the sun. These frozen remnants are leftovers from the solar system's birth, fragments that never formed into planets. Each moves silently through the dark, coated in frost, glowing faintly in reflected light. Here, time feels slower, orbits take centuries, collisions are rare, and distance stretches into meaning. The Kuiper Belt is both boundary and bridge, the last whisper of the sun's influence and the first step toward the stars. Within it, small worlds drift in patience, carrying ancient secrets of chemistry and ice. It is the solar system's attic, filled with untouched relics of creation, preserved in cold perfection. To look toward it is to see the edges of memory where formation ends and wonder begins, where the story of planets fades into the poetry of distance. At the heart of the Kuiper Belt spins Pluto, a small and distant world that still captures imagination. Its surface glows with soft pink light, shaped by methane frost and nitrogen ice. In the center lies a vast plain in the shape of a heart, a frozen sea known as Sputnik Planitia. There, glaciers flow as slowly as centuries, moving like breath beneath a sky, so thin it can't carry sound. Sunlight takes 5 hours to reach it, faint but enough to make the surface shimmer. Once called a planet, now a dwarf among giants. Pluto has not lost its significance. It remains the symbol of endurance. A world that continues to orbit quietly, unbothered by titles, in its lonely path. It reflects something human, the strength to stay luminous even when distant, even when forgotten by those who once named it. Far beyond Pluto lies the scattered disk, a region of chaotic orbits where comets are born. These icy travelers begin their lives here, disturbed by passing stars or the pull of distant planets. Over time, gravity flings them inward, sending them on long journeys toward the sun. As they near warmth, their surfaces ignite, releasing tails of light and gas that stretch across the night sky. Then, they fade again, returning to the cold. The scattered disk is a nursery for impermanence, a reminder that even frozen bodies can blaze for a while. It is motion made from memory, ancient debris awakening briefly, then falling back into sleep. Every comet that visits Earth carries dust older than the planets themselves. Their return is not predictable, only certain like thoughts that vanish, but always find their way back to light. Out here, gravity grows faint, but never disappears. The sun's pull stretches infinitely, a thread of influence, thinning with distance but never breaking. Even at the edge of the solar system, its reach still guides particles of ice and dust. Planets, comets, and distant rocks all follow that invisible tether, bound to a warmth they can no longer feel. Gravity does not fade into nothing, it softens, turning force into suggestion. It is the universe's most patient embrace, holding without holding, asking nothing but presence. To imagine standing here though there is no surface, no air, no sound, is to feel that quiet connection. Every orbit, every motion, even the farthest drift, still belongs to the same center. The sun's pull is love made physical, unseen, eternal, and never entirely gone. Far beyond everything else lies the Oort cloud, a vast sphere of frozen bodies surrounding the solar system like a halo. It stretches so far that it marks the edge of the sun's influence, where interstellar space begins. Each object within it is a time capsule from the dawn of creation, untouched for billions of years. The Oort cloud sleeps, its icy fragments drifting in endless darkness, waiting for some distant gravity to awaken them. Every few million years, one is nudged inward, becoming a comet and reminding the inner planets of their origins. It is the solar system's outer memory, the quiet border where belonging fades into freedom. The Oort cloud doesn't end, it simply blends into the galaxy, a whisper of light turning into the first breath of stars beyond. Solar light stretched thin across eternity, carrying warmth to where even memory grows faint. Launched long ago, the Voyager spacecraft still travels outward, beyond planets and sunlight, carrying humanity's faintest voice. Its instruments are aging, its power fading, yet it continues to send whispers home, data crossing billions of miles at the speed of thought. On board is a golden record, a message from Earth etched with music, greetings, and sounds of life. It drifts through space like a bottled memory, waiting for someone or something to find it. Voyager has become both explorer and ghost, a reminder that curiosity never stops at the border of the known. Each signal it sends takes over 20 hours to reach us, a fragile thread between our small world and the infinite. Even as it leaves the sun behind, Its mission remains simple: to keep telling the story of where it came from, for as long as it can, far from the sun. Light stretches thin across eternity. It weakens, but never dies, expanding gently through the dark. Each photon carries a story of fusion, of warmth, tease of time. It leaves the sun's surface as brilliance and arrives as memory, a pale echo of its former fire. Yet that faint glow is enough to touch the edges of the solar system, to brush Pluto's heart and illuminate drifting comets. Light doesn't end when it fades, it becomes patience, spreading until it fills even emptiness. Somewhere in that endless glow is every sunrise that ever was, still moving, still shining. To think of sunlight is to think of persistence, energy choosing to exist in gentleness. Across the void, it hums softly, an ancient warmth still traveling homeward, still reminding the dark what light feels like. At the farthest edge of the solar system lies an invisible frontier, the heliopause, where the sun's breath meets the galaxy's wind. Here, solar particles slow to a stop, pushed back by forces from beyond. It's the place where our star's influence ends and the Milky Way begins. Voyager crossed this boundary years ago, becoming the first messenger to truly enter interstellar space. In that transition, space itself seems to change texture, becoming less ours, more infinite. The sun's energy fades into the background hum of the universe. It is not an ending, but an opening, the solar system's final exhale blending with the galaxy's inhale. Beyond this edge, the sky belongs to no one star. It is the meeting of two breaths, one born of warmth, one of eternity. Between the stars, silence stretches, but it is not emptiness. The void hums with radiation, gravity, and the faint music of atoms drifting. There are particles, fields, and distant echoes of ancient explosions, all moving slowly through the dark. Every cubic inch of space holds energy, subtle but real. The galaxies themselves swim in this invisible ocean, their light carried on waves of stillness. In this vast expanse, distance becomes meaning, and isolation becomes balance. The quiet between stars is not absence, it's potential, the waiting stillness that allows creation to begin again. To listen here is to hear the pulse of everything. Too deep for sound, too wide for measure, even in the darkest spaces. The universe is awake, patient, listening, alive with the promise of what could yet form. The solar system is not a machine, it's a lullaby made of light. Every orbit, every rotation, every spark of reflection follows a rhythm older than words. The sun hums the melody, and the planets answer in motion, each one keeping its time. Comets trace soft harmonies across the outer dark, while moons mark the quiet percussion of gravity's beat. This song has no beginning and no end. It drifts endlessly, folding silence and motion into one. We live within its music, part of the pattern, part of the light. When you close your eyes tonight, you can still feel its rhythm, the steady pulse of a system that was never mechanical, only miraculous. The universe is not cold clockwork, it is warmth stretched thin, a cosmic cradle humming us gently into sleep. And now, the journey slows, like a breath released after a long exhale. We began at the center in the heart of the sun and drifted outward through every layer of light and shadow the solar system has to offer. We have crossed the molten surface of Mercury, the veiled heat of Venus, the blue calm of Earth, the sleeping sands of Mars, and the endless storms of Jupiter. We have watched Saturn's rings shimmer like frozen music, felt the cold breath of Uranus roll sideways through eternity, and listened to Neptune's deep blue silence fade into the dark. And beyond even that, we touched the edge, the faint whisper of sunlight stretched thin into infinity. All along the way, something steady followed us, a rhythm too soft for ears, yet impossible to ignore. It is the sound of orbits turning, of light expanding, of time remembering itself. It is the hum of existence, woven through every grain of dust, every glimmer of ice, every shadow crossing a crater's rim. That hum does not stop when you stop listening. It continues, patient and eternal, like the beating of a heart beneath layers of quiet. The solar system is not machinery or clockwork. It is memory in motion. The planets do not move because they must, but because they are part of something deeper, a balance older than life, older than sound. You are part of it. Too, the same atoms that burn in stars, the same hydrogen that fuels the sun's glow, flow through you, even now. The iron in your blood, the calcium in your bones, the oxygen in your lungs, all were born in stellar fire and scattered across the galaxy before finding their way here, into this breath, into this moment. So when you breathe in, you are not just filling your lungs, you are drawing in starlight, fragments of creation still traveling home. The air that moves through you tonight is the same air that once brushed the surface of the moon, the same atoms that once drifted through Saturn's rings. Everything connects, gently, endlessly, as the planets turn, as the comets drift, as the sun hums its endless song. Your own heartbeat finds its place among them. You are not separate from this vastness. You are its echo, its continuation, its proof that energy never disappears. It simply becomes calm. So now, let it all fade. The stars are still there. The light is still traveling. The universe is still dreaming itself awake and asleep again, over and over, in perfect rhythm. Let your thoughts become like Jupiter's clouds, wide and unhurried. Let your breath become like Saturn's rings, slow and even. Let your body settle, like dust falling gently on the moon. You have reached the edge of the solar system, and the beginning of stillness. Out there, the sun keeps singing, and here, in the quiet, you can finally rest. Good night, traveler. The stars will keep their gentle watch, the planets will keep their silent dance, and the universe vast, patient, and kind will hum you softly into sleep.